Hey Dad, how's it going?
Well, I just got done reading today's paper, and boy, does Garfield get up to some shenanigans this week. How was your day, son?
I'm doing great, Dad. I just asked Abigail Goldstein out to prom again, and this time she didn't make fun of me.
Oh, wow, that's great. Wait, Goldstein? Abigail? Prom? Fun? Son, are you dating a Jew?
Well, I don't like to brag, but I do have some smooth moves.
First of all, that's a lie and you know it. Secondly, no wonder she makes fun of you. That's what those people do.
Dad, let me tell you a story. It's a story of a powerful woman who defied prejudice and judgment from others. Well now, this woman's name is Rosa. And one day Rosa's legs were tired and she was mighty thirsty, so she decided she was going to take a nice ride on the bus. Pa, have you ever ridden a bus with Rosa Parks?
No, how old do you think I am?
Well, if you had, you would know just what kind of lady Miss Parks was. Now, Rosa was a nice old sarsaparilla drinking gal from Birmingham, Alabama, but here's a twist, Pa. She was black.
What is this voice you're doing? We're from Rhode Island.
So down there in the South, they don't really like Miss Parks sitting in the front of the bus and what have you, so they go and confront her about this, but Rosa, being the stubborn lass of a mule she is, she gets up and starts bucking around the cabin, knocking hats off her heads and canes out of hands. Well, she really did have burr in her saddle, I'll tell you what, Pa. Now, it is a good thing that they didn't approach her from behind, because Rosa's hind legs is where she generates most of her power. While they could knock the teeth out of an alligator, Pa, she was the first power bottom, I will tell you that right now. But that wasn't to say Mrs. Parks ain't put no work into it. Nah, she was doing squats and deadlifts throughout the whole bus ride, which is probably why the reason it got hotter than a coil whip on the 4th of July. Now, you gotta be careful around Miss Parks. You come up too fast on her, you'll startle her. I mean, she starts bucking till the cows come home. I had seen her sit there for like a whole 45 minutes with just a fly in her eye. Now, she's about as slick as a wet panther, so it was really hard to get Rosa Parks off of that bus. But getting her in jail was even harder than getting her off that bus, Pa. Well, they had to King Kong chain her up, and she was swatting officers left and right, climbing the Empire State Building. I mean, she was a sight to behold. Now I knows that you thinking, Paul Jedemiah, why you know so much about this woman?
That is not your name.
Well, you seem to have caught me, Pa. I might have had a bit of a crush on that dark majesty of a woman.
Dark magic is right. Now go to your room and think about what a weird and bizarre son I raised.
Objection!
Denied. Wait, what is your objection?
No, that's what Rosa Parks' lawyer said when she was found guilty. Now, by this time, Rosa was tired of all this racism and court business and really just wanted to go back to her apartment so she could play some Mario Kart. But nevertheless, when it came to the yeas and nays, Rosa was of course on the nays, and the judge told her to get off her high horse and mosey on over to the state penitentiary for a while. Now, it was about this time that the great Martin Luther King Jr. got wind of all this, and he's about as sly as a fox. In fact, he even looks like a fox, Pa. Now, it wouldn't look like it in the photos, but Marty had a lot of fur and big fox ears to hear the white man from a mile away. Now, Mr. King got his knickers in a knot when he learned about Miss Parks, and one day he was out scavenging for voles, and he had a dream. And in that dream, Rosa was wearing her finest Sunday dress, and Marty pulled up in his big boy pants and sauntered over to her. Pa, if you have to know one thing about Martin Luther King Jr., it's that he had the best pickup lines in the Birmingham metro area. But you see, Rosa Parks had a nose so high in the air she could drown in a rainstorm and didn't want Martin's big old hound of a cock. You a real foxy lady, but you're looking a bit hoarse, Mr. King proclaimed as he gyrated his hips. Miss Parks was having none of it. How about we go back to my foxhole and horse around in my foxhole, Martin said as he got lower, raising his arms, and he continued to swing his hips like some sort of orbiting moon base on a hot summer's day. It was at this point that Martin knew he could convince Miss Parks to make sweet, sweet love within a fortnight. So he got lower, and he swung harder, and Pa, he even rolled his eyes to the back of his head as he spit the best game he could at that fine piece of ass. So after Rosa figured out how sex works, they got together in the most unholy of ways, and well, 9 months later, the Fonz was born.
Wait a minute. The Fonz?
Well, sure. I mean, it is a little known fact that the Fonz is the child of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. But did you also know that the Fonz had these koala-like qualities?
No, this is in fact getting very out of hand and you need to go to your room.
Well, I would love to do that, Pa, and I will do that faster than you can say, "You spilt my soda, we're gonna duel at high noon." But I would love to tell you about how the fawn spent his days climbing trees and having himself a munch on some eucalyptus.
Well, it's a shame you're not going to be able to get to do that, because so far you've just rambled on about how Rosa Parks was a horse and how Martin Luther King was a horny fox, so I think you could just spend a little more time in your room before you decide to make fun of even more civil rights leaders, or the Fonz, I guess.
Well, you know what, Pa? I could do that, or I could just disappear like people's memories of John Wayne.
Go to your room. How about that? Quit talking about disappearing and all these weird mythical creatures with civil rights leaders. Just go to your fucking room and quit being such a weird kid. Maybe you'll actually get a girlfriend then. How about that? How about that? I understand I hate Jews. That's not the point. Go to your fucking room and think about what a weird little creep you are. How about that?
Okay. Yes, sir. Or, I could just disappear like the old western tumbleweed.